Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. We have a very interesting tale, and I'm going to give you my take on this. Now, for 14 years, Labour have been insisting that the voting system in this country is not representative. They wanted proportional representation. That's what they've asked for 14 years. And I agree, it should be proportional representation. It is a fairer method. First past the post is okay when you've got 2.5 parties, but we don't anymore. We've got many more parties. And I think PR stops the sort of awful slaughter that we've seen with this current election and the fact that only 20% of the people voted Labour, and yet we've had this loveless landslide. And now, of course, Labour are in power, and with such a huge majority, you'd think they'll be able to fulfil their wishes and push through and bring in proportional representation and do it quickly. Except no, now that they're in power and with a big landslide, they're thinking, oh no, we don't want proportional representation. We like the status quo. We like the fact that we've got power. And so they're abandoning their pledge, right? They've ruled it out. They've ruled out making any changes to the electoral system in this country for at least the term of this parliament. Now, I guarantee that as a result of the next general election, they'll be back to go, well, we want PR again. But I'm actually going to say, yes, absolutely. Let's get rid of any notion of having PR before the next election. And the reason I say that is come the next election, Labour will be demolished. And if it is first past the post, there will be very, very few Labour MPs. There should be none, but there will be some. But hopefully very, very few. The Tories will do well, and Reform will do astonishingly well. And there'll be a few others. There's bound to be, obviously, your Lib Dems, your SNP, maybe a Green, maybe 2 Greens, who knows. But so long as Labour are then wiped out, because even the Labour voters are sickened to the core over what they're doing, then there's no comeback from them. And if there was PR, they would actually end up with probably more seats than they're going to have. So yes, for once, I'm actually agreeing with Starmer and his positioning that there should be no PR at the moment. Because if we can eradicate the Labour Party at the next general election, we can possibly break them forever. And that's what needs to happen. Now, party delegates have been running around for, like I say, 14 years going, how great it would be to have PR, to have some kind of this, and replace first past the post, etc. And they've wanted it for 14 years because for 14 years they've been the opposition. But now, of course, they're no longer. But this 144, is it? 145 seats, whatever it is, majority, that they've got at the moment. Oh, they feel comfortable enough to say, no, we don't need proportional representation after all, because otherwise we wouldn't have the majority that we would have, and we'd actually have to work with people, and wouldn't be able to push through the most awful policies designed to destroy a country. Well, let's make sure that next time, when whoever's in, then all the decisions that Labour are doing now can be reversed. They can be reversed even further and go much further the other way. And then bring in PR, and then whatever happens, the kind of extreme, dangerous policies that this government are so keen on pushing can never happen again. There'll be enough gainsayers to say no and to put some kind of control in place. As an example of what this would mean is if we had PR in the last election, Labour would have just had 236 MPs. They would not have had a majority. They'd have been the biggest party, only just. Conservatives would have been second. Reform would have been third. Reform itself would have had nearly 100 seats. More, indeed, than the Lib Dems. And Labour would not now be embarking on the radical destruction of an entire country, the murderous intent against its old people, the totally evil withdrawal of any kind of push for greatness. Nothing. I mean, if you want to make money, you're the enemy of the state. If you want to live comfortably, you're the enemy of the state. If you want to better yourself, you're the enemy of the state. And of course, what does this government do with enemies of the state? It locks them up, because dissent will not be accepted. And so, while it's acceptable, I think, for Labour supporters to call for murder of political opponents, anyone else who gainsay the Labour Party has to get 2.5 years in the gulag. This is not me making things up. We've seen it. We've got Ricky Jones, who called for the murder of people, walking free at the moment. He was given bail. Others were locked up like that, 2.5 years, for saying naughty words, for shouting at a dog. He can call for murder, walks free. Stunning two-tier justice in Starmer's Britain. But of course, he's in the right party. And that, of course, is why they're taxing pensions as well, because if you're not a party apparatchik working for the state, working for the big party machine, then, you know, you have to pay for it. You have to be taxed into smithereens. It's no wonder the millionaires are all leaving and will continue to do so. The point is, of course, if he can make sure that nobody's got any money, then nobody will have the money to leave. That also is the probability of what's going on as well. Everything is about destruction. Everything is about control. And we have in this country now, for the first time since communism failed in 1989, a communist government in Europe. They're calling it Labour. They're calling it socialism. But it's not. It's Marxist communism. And remember, Starmer is a Marxist. He's a self-admitted Marxist. He went to Soviet Russia when he was young. He was on an MI5 watch list for his Marxist tendencies. And that's the world we're living in. Friend of Putin, you know, follow the narrative. A big fan of Joe Stalin, and lock up your enemies. His only saving grace is that he's not allowed to slaughter his enemies. But I wouldn't put it past him. Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Bye.